Rules of the Road, Chapter 11. Dr. Macmillan had Mrs. Gladstone stay overnight in the hospital for observation and told her what she already knew. She needed a new hip. Sooner rather than later, the doctor said. I am scheduled for an operation in September. I wouldn't recommend waiting that long, said the doctor, writing out a prescription and suggesting she not take the stairs. Then she said it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a wheelchair in the car just in case. Mrs. Gladstone said a wheelchair was out of the question. The doctor handed me a pad with scrawled instructions that looked like hieroglyphics on what kind of wheelchair to buy. Just in case I'm right, she whispered. I packed up our suitcases, checked us out of the hotel, got the car, and asked Mrs. Gladstone if we should take a run over to the medical supply store to look at wheelchairs. This went over like a pop chemistry quiz the day before spring vacation, when you had to wonder for a whole week if you destroyed your grade point average. You are to keep those infernal things away from me, do you hear? Just trying to cover all the bases, Mrs. Gladstone. I know it's the last thing you want. I'm worried about you is all, and don't be. This whole trip was beginning to be a whole lot more than I'd bargained for. Mrs. Gladstone, I'm not a nurse, and if anything happened that I couldn't handle, if I need a nurse, I'll hire one. Now I suggest, young woman, that you do what I've hired you to do. I gave the Cadillac extra gas to let her know I was mad. We were heading to 55 South, which would take us to St. Louis, the gateway to the west. From school, I remembered that the explorers Lewis and Clark started their expedition in St. Louis. From Dad, I knew the city's #1 product, Budweiser beer. Mrs. Gladstone had turned on a radio station that played the big band music of World War II, which, trust me, you either like or you don't. My grandmother would have liked it, but for a sophisticated teenager, it was like Chinese water torture. I focused on something else to avoid screaming, eavesdropping. Actually, as Mrs. Gladstone talked to Henry Bender on the phone again, saying she didn't see what could be done, and wasn't it too late to win back the company? An old school bus painted baby blue from the Anointed Saints of the Evangelical Free Gospel Church of Jesus Christ, Vernon, Illinois, screeched in front of me. I rammed on the brakes to avoid hitting the back of the bus with the sign that said, "Heaven is our real home." "Mercy," said Mrs. Gladstone, jolting forward. "I'm sorry." I slowed down, keeping 2 bus lengths between me and heaven, and pulled onto 55 South. I focused on the road. I had to be sharp. This always energized me. I didn't think too much, just clicked into the driving rhythm as the rows of highway lights curved over the pavement. I drove slowly around a blinking warning sign, set up around a construction site, checked my mirrors for approaching cars when I saw a merge arrow, moved to the right lane when the driver behind me flashed his headlights. It seemed to me that people who made rules of the road had figured out everything that would help a person drive safely, right down to having a sign that tells you're passing through a place where deer cross. Somebody should stick up signs on the highway of life. Caution, jerks crossing. Blinking yellow lights when you're about to do something stupid. Stop signs in front of people who could hurt you. Green lights shining when you're doing the right thing. It would make the whole experience easier. Life was too hard sometimes. I let out a lonely sigh and realized how much I missed my mother. I missed Chicago too, and Opal. I even missed Faith. I missed being with people under 70 years of age. I missed selling shoes and listening to real music. I missed tacos and refried beans and all-night Chinese takeout places and teenage conversations. I missed my grandmother and the fun we used to have. The loss of that was like a giant crater in my heart. I wondered how she was getting along, wondered if she remembered enough to miss me. What if Grandma slipped too far away while I was gone? What if Murray hired someone who would sell shoes even better than me? What if Dad bothered Faith? What if he never came back? I started crying. Never appropriate for the professional driver. I looked for the next place to pull off, because the pain of my grandmother and my father, and my homesickness and my worry were bursting out at the same time. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I hoped Mrs. Gladstone was looking out the window because I didn't think she'd appreciate this behavior. I steered off the exit ramp, not asking permission. Mrs. Gladstone didn't say anything. She just let me pull into the parking lot of Prue's Pie Palace and run inside. I stood by the sink in the bathroom and washed my face with cold water to get the red splotches off from all the crying and despair. No paper towels. I stuck my face under the hand blower, which made my eyes tear, praying no one would walk in. If Opal was here, she would have told me that tears weren't anything to be ashamed of, that crying in front of people makes you closer. That's how Opal and I met. She was crying at the bus stop after school. Her new wallet had been stolen and she didn't have enough money to get home. I paid her fare and we rode home together. By the time we'd passed North Avenue, I'd told her my dad was an alcoholic. She told me her aunt believed in alien abduction, and we'd become best friends right there on 22nd North. Like my grandma always said, you never know what blessings can come from suffering. I dried my eyes on my sleeves and walked out to where Mrs. Gladstone was sipping coffee. There were 2 pieces of coconut cream pie on the table, my absolute favorite dessert. I sat down reverently in front of all those calories. She leaned forward, studying me. You want to talk about it? I shook my head. Figured she'd make me spill my guts, but she didn't. Some things are too deep for words, is all she said. And there we sat, eating our pie.